Hi, how's it going? I'm Luciano Ruas, and if you love Brazilian music and studying Brazilian music, and if you don't know this channel is about the Brazilian accent improvisation, and today I would like to divide with you a little story about my search of the Brazilian accent. I've been searching this from it's been many years, and maybe why I decided to do this channel. All right, if you know my story, I'm gonna count part of what you know and some details I didn't think before in counting them. And when we remind some details, they help us to remind some of our choices and why we are doing that. And when I was 18 or 19 years old, I was getting interested in Brazilian music. Before I heard rock and roll of the 60s, like Elvis Presley, Jerry Lewis, and I liked also classical music because of the virtuose composers like Rachmaninoff. I was amazed with that fast play at the piano, that virtuosism that they show, and that was the first thing that caught me in the piano music. But I've heard about the capacity or capability of the piano doing some percussive stuff, and I've heard about some musicians that did this in the piano, and so I started to get interested in this. My first approximation of the Brazilian music was with what we call MPB. MPB, translating for Portuguese, MPB, or Música Popular Brasileira, Brazilian popular music. It's a kind of Brazilian music that happened on the some people call everything we talk about Brazilian music, it's Brazilian popular music, but we musicians, I think some of us understand the MPB like music from the 90s, 80s, that mixture a little of pop music and Brazilian traditional music like samba, like some other traditional singers that make this mixture, all right, with pop music. And I remind album that I've heard of the singer Marisa Monte that changed my way of what I liked to that moment. I just heard classical music and I heard rock and roll. My brother and sister heard rock and roll, and I knew something about rock and roll. But this album changed because I've heard some colors of percussion, of different arrangements that I've never heard nothing similar. And I was studying that time. I studied the piano with a jazzy concept. I had some teachers who have studied at the Berklee College of Music. They taught me some standards, some improvised stuff, and there was one thing that I missed a lot, was that that music didn't have connection with what I was hearing. And so I was a little frustrated about my musical classes, because the jazz that I knew just happened in my classes. I think my ears weren't prepared to hear jazz. I admired my teachers, but not like I admired the recordings that I heard at home. And this made me a little frustrated. This made me a little lost in the musical world, and I didn't realize what was the problem. And in this, returning to this album, I started to hear the first things that get me passionate about the Brazilian accent. And so what were these things? This album was called Memórias, Crônicas e Declarações de Amor, of the singer Marisa Monte. If you want to hear it, I write the name on the comments. What did this album had that was the seed of the Brazilian accent that I was searching for? First of all, I was very curious about what made the musicians make that choices. I didn't understand exactly, because why the piano player did that something, why the keyboardist choose some timbre, why the guitar made some detail. I didn't understand nothing of this, but I was very curious, because that sound made me very curious about. I didn't know what was language and what was accent, and to search this information, my thirst for that information was very, very strong. So I've gone 5 times to that show, that the show of this album, and I read the cover to see what were the musicians, and there were some names that today I understand why I liked it so much. For example, there was one name that was João Donato, and João Donato, he's one of the important composers of the bossa nova period. He's not a bossa nova player, because he has another influence, but he's a very interesting pianist of this period, and he was playing a track called A Bololô with a lot of different chords in the piano, in this cover of this album, we saw the chords also. It was different from other albums because with the lyrics you had the chords written also, and that dissonant chords made me very curious. And why he chose these chords? What did why the other instruments are playing in that way? Another thing, another track that was very interesting. There was one song played with guitar and voice, and this name was Romero Lubambo. Romero Lubambo is a very interesting and virtuous Brazilian musician, guitar player, that was invited to play this track, accompanying Marisa Monte. And I didn't know that it was a style, and that style had one static. I knew that the melody and the harmony sounded very good. Let me show you this harmony and melody. I'm gonna sing. I don't have the technique of singing, but I want to show you. That's a very beautiful melody. Se eu pudesse roubar as gotas de luar que brilham nos olhos teus, guardava aquele canto para enfeitar meu canto na hora do adeus. Se eu pudesse roubar as gotas de luar que vibram nos olhos teus, guardava aquele encanto para enfeitar meu canto na hora do adeus. Sei que muito breve tu irás me esquecer. Eu sei que vou sofrer por culpa da minha paixão. Eu devia te deixar, mas vou continuar pra machucar meu pobre coração. This is the track Gotas de Luar by Marisa Monte. Very beautiful track. And I didn't know, for example, that this is the bossa nova static. He's playing just guitar and voice. It's not casually, but if you hear the recordings of the João Gilberto, that was the creator of the guitar groove, Brazilian groove, you're gonna hear João Gilberto. And João Gilberto created this static also, sometimes playing guitar and voice that was never done before him in Brazil, or sometimes guitar, acoustic guitar and orchestra and voice. This is like I said, non-casual static. So, but that sounds were very interesting to me, and some other tracks were more pop music. For example, we had one other track called This it's a very pop melody. You have some pentatonic scales in arrangement, and there were some other tracks with African percussion. It was very, it blew my mind, this album. And one thing I would like to say about this, the experience of hearing this album made me passionate about that music, but it was far from the music that I've learned in school, because I had to play some chords with tensions, I have to improvise some melodies, and what I was doing in the music school, it was far and different of what I've heard. And I discovered that I do it this after discovering that I've tried it with my friends, my class, my students, I'm sorry. I discovered that one important thing to get the motivation of your student is playing what the music he or she hears. Because the motivation to study every day and see that sound getting from your hands, or your blow if you're a saxophone player or another musician, it makes lots and lots of difference in your capacity of getting going to the goal that you are searching for. Do you understand me? I'm sorry if I wasn't clear in the language. Sometimes it's new for me to do classes in English, but so what I was trying to think, it's I think if you have the capability of join the music your student hears and what he's studying, it's fabulous, because he or she is going to grow up faster, because he has some emotional connection with this music. And as a lot of us know, we are emotional creatures. So this is a pillar of my method of teaching. And but with this album I discovered a lot of some details of the language, and that names of in the cover helped me in this search, because when I had the opportunity of, for example, in that CD we have some there is some track that Nana Vasconcelos, one of the great percussionists of Brazil and of the world, was playing together, and that made me discover a lot of Brazilian music. And so, and in my music school that I was studying, the just connection that I was able to tell my teachers was the bossa nova. They were teaching me to play a little of bossa nova, and I didn't understand yet that connection, that different static styles, what was the language of each one, what to do in one style or not to do, all are to be mixed information, all right? And bossa nova was the just connection I had with Brazilian music. So other happening that was very important in my journey of studying Brazilian music was when one friend told me he I played bossa nova for him, and he told me that he knew a pianist that didn't improvise in bossa nova using the blues scales, and I just used the blues scales to improvise, and this was other happening mind-blowing to me, because I didn't know the solutions. How can we play improvised music without this? And if you ask a lot of older musicians, they won't have the answer. But he told me about one pianist, very important pianist, but not very known in Brazil. That's called Laércio de Freitas. Laércio de Freitas is an important pianist of today's. He's already playing and doing his music, but he's very important in the choro piano. Choro, it's a style from Rio de Janeiro. It's a urban style, but very virtuous. And he told me, Laércio told him that the blues scale is very attractive. It's a scale that it's the easiest solution to improvise, and in his music he avoided playing this scale because he wanted to have more intelligent solutions for his music. And this blew my mind and made me avoid the blues scales. And after that, after hearing that, I've heard also a pianist that didn't hear so much jazz. He was a very nice improviser, but he didn't hear so much this jazz pianist because he didn't want to get the accent, the jazz, North American jazz accent. And so I tried to avoid hearing jazz, and I heard a lot of Brazilian music trying to play, and there was one interesting experience I've had when I showed my playing for one more experienced pianist. He told me that I had lots and lots of jazz influence, and this was a little frustrating to me because I thought, wow, I don't hear jazz, I just hear Brazilian music, and why I'm sounding jazzy? And I was sounding jazzy because I used my tools of improvising were all blues scales, pentatonic scales, resources that are very common in jazz. And there were some musicians that in the 60s started to create a new movement in Brazilian music. I think the main responsible for this new movement were Heraldo do Monte, and Heraldo Monte is a guitar player. He plays the electrical guitar and a 10-string guitar. And Hermeto Pascoal. Hermeto Pascoal, it's known in all the world. He plays a lot of instruments. He has very complex and some simple compositions. It's someday I'm gonna talk about him or both. And they started in some moment of their careers. They started searching a Brazilian way of improvising. They played with the jazz language that was common, but they realized that we have very different melodic languages in Brazilian music, and it was possible to improvise just using the melodical language of the styles they hear. And they created a movement in Brazil that was of these improvisers. And I've heard about them. I didn't know anybody that did them, but I started to hear and search for how to play this. And this was very important. But like I said, I discovered after so many time after that it was very important to have a mentor, a master, saying to me that if I was playing inside or outside the Brazilian language, because this jazz language that I've taken was so strong in me, and I had to work hardly to get the Brazilian accent. So we have some musicians that do this naturally. For example, there was one workshop that happened here in São Paulo of a musician called a musician talking about the language of a traditional style of the state of Pernambuco. And he was telling about, and people started to ask questions of how was the accent, how was the articulation, how he thought to do the melodical language. And some of them, and when he was going off to answer it, he told that it's just play, it's natural. And people tried to take some more some answer of how did he study, how did he learn that things, and he didn't know how to answer because it was natural. So we have lots and lots of musicians that play the language naturally, but they intuitively do this because they lived that language. They have some, for example, some experiences in the childhood or in their musical life that made they take this language naturally. And for me this wasn't the case. So sometimes people say to me that I have one talent to teach, and I don't think it's a talent, but my difficulty, my hard experience that I think I'm trying to evolve every day. I'm not perfect in this, but I'm trying to evolve every day in this ability. Made me think and see these difficulties in an easier way. I understand now what problems I had and some ones I'm trying to resolve. So I think I don't consider myself as a genius, but I consider myself as a person who has the capability of teaching. So this this could be a compensation of this talentness that I have. I don't know if this is the right word, but so I'm telling you this because one of the pillars of my method, my way of teaching become that it's important when you learn a language to have someone to correct your pronouns. Note, for example, if you know some stranger person or even me, that I'm speaking English, but I'm speaking with some Brazilian accent or some wrong accent sometimes, because I'm not having every day someone to correct my pronounce. The words that I've told someone and this person understood me. I understood that my pronounce is this sufficient to this person understand my communication. So I don't in that moment I ended my learning of that pronounce, and some words that some people don't understand, I improved my speaking, my pronounce, because I want to make me understandable. So it's the same thing. Some people stop the process of learning, because they don't have anybody to say them, you are pronouncing wrong, you are correct, this word is wrong, or something like that. In music is the same thing. If you are learning the Brazilian accent, you sometimes have to have somebody to correct your pronounce. All right. So this channel, this is a little of my journey, and this channel has this taste, has this mission of helping you to have more information about Brazilian music, to understand, for example, your blind spots, with my classes here, and helping you in this, if you love Brazilian music like me, to go deeper, when I'm teaching my students in my course, I'm helping them to go deeper and deeper, and helping them in what they are they are not seeing. And one thing more I would like to say to you is that I told about cures. I don't know the right pronounce, course or cures. But in this channel, my purpose is this. I'm doing lives every day telling about the Brazilian accent improvisation. You can watch freely, you don't have to pay me anything, and all your doubts are welcome. And one interesting thing to me, that some doubts I'm receiving for you that are foreigners, are people that were born out of Brazil, are very interesting, because I'm not capable of predicting what doubts you have. So send me, I will have pleasure, and some of them I won't know, but I can research, I can ask for my friends, Brazilian friends, because if you don't know, Brazil is a very large country with different cultures. We have continental, how can I say, it's not weight, it's there is one friend that tells me that when I lose the words I found in the keyboard, but I could say largeness. Brazil has a continental largeness, and I don't know everything about, but I know some things that unites different kinds of music here in Brazil. So you are invited to watch every day during lives. sometimes classes also of the Brazilian accent improvisation. I'm gonna tell about different styles, who you have to hear, what songs you have to play if you are starting, what to pay attention in the recordings. I'm gonna tell someday I'm gonna tell about the 11 of my method that makes the cake grows. And what else? So if you want to improvise and in an authentic way, and you want to learn more and more about Brazilian music, I invite you to divide with me your experience. Send me your story, and you're gonna be very welcome in my channel to learn everything you want, and what else more, to have Brazilian experience, musical experience. All right, so I'm very happy to do this live. I hope you have enjoyed. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you every day during lives of the Brazilian accent improvisation. And thank you, I'm very grateful for your audience. See you tomorrow, every day. Bye bye, obrigado, bye bye.